So it's another great morning. We meet again for this session of leadership and management. So we are going to look at functions of management. So of which we are starting with the planning as a function of management. So you remember that you have others like organizing. We have that. So we have said that we have those other functions of management. So we are going to start with the first one. So the planning function. So we are going to start with the first one, the planning, beside the others, which will be looked at later. So let's look at planning. So when we talk about planning, I will be talking about the introduction part, the importance of planning, types of plans, approaches to planning. So from the definition of planning, you know that if you want to achieve anything, there must be a plan. For anything to be achieved, there must be what? A plan. So meaning that, right now, if you want to pass your exam, you have a plan to do your revision and implement 1, 2, 3 things for you to make sure that you excel. So planning is just a process of thinking about the activities required to achieve a desired goal. So what are you required to do to achieve the required goal? So the desired goal. So it's there for the process of identifying tasks to be performed and the methods to be used. And the time also for them, sorry, and the time also for the implementation of the methods, for the implementation of the methods. So remember that as I have said, is that for you to make sure that you pass your exam by August, you know the plans you are putting in place. You have attended the class, you have gone through the revision, and you have implemented whatever strategy in terms of revising and making sure you know that these are the questions which can be tested based on the previous ones. So the activities required to achieve a desired goal. So planning bridges the gap between where we are and where we want to go. So it breaks that gap between where we are and where we want to go. Tomorrow or by December, with CPA, where do you want to be? You want to be a CPA K. So a plan, so the plans you have implemented today will make sure that you have achieved what you needed. So a plan is a predetermined course of action for achieving objectives. Predetermined course of action. So we can have a duration of planning. So we can do a short-term plan. Intermediate, that is the medium plan, medium-term plan. Long-term and contingency. So let's look at them. The short-term plan. So this short-term plan takes which period? The duration. So this refers to planning activities implemented within a time of up to 1 year. Implemented within a period of up to 1 year. So this type of planning is mostly pertinent to line managers. It's very pertinent to line managers and the general employees of the organization, because now it's implemented within a time of up to 1 year. So this is a short-term plan. Very important to line managers and the general employees of the organizations. So because you will find that employees are the one who carries out day-to-day activities. So that is why they will be saying that it focuses on the day-to-day activities of the organization. So it specifies duties to be implemented on daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual basis. So that is why we have said that it's very important to line managers and the general employees of the organization. So this may include plans concerning inventory planning about, let's say, if you are dealing with various stock, remember you have to plan on your stock. So the plans about your stock on a regular, the plans put on a regular basis, they are short term. So this may include plans concerning inventory planning and control, employee training, work methods, and many more other plans. So short term. Implemented within a time of up to 1 year. So we move to the advantages and the disadvantages of short-term plans, the advantages and disadvantages. So which are some of the advantages? So it can be easily adjustable. So short-term plans can be adjusted. Short-term plans can be adjusted. Changes can be made and incorporated. So it's very easy to make changes for your short-term plans and to incorporate another change. So only retro resources required. It doesn't take a lot of resources of the entity. Disadvantages, very short-term period drift over things will be more difficult to mobilize the resources because now these are short-term plans. So we don't have enough time to get the required resources to make sure that everything is well implemented. So difficult to mobilize the resources. Communication cycle will be completed. Communication cycle will not be completed, sorry, because of the time frame, because it's a short-term plan. So communication cycle will not be completed, will not be completed. So we have intermediate stroke medium-term plan. So now the intermediate. So these ones involves a time perspective of 1 to 5 years and are designed to implement activities among middle or departmental level managers of the organization. So remember that for short term, we said they are important to line managers and the general employees of the organization. But now when we come to intermediate or medium-term plans, so they are designed to be implemented within a period of 1 to 5 years. And they are more important to middle or departmental level managers of the organization. So planning focuses more on activities that have to be implemented within a planning horizon that contains risk and certainty. So the planning focuses more on the activities that have to be implemented with a planning horizon that contains risk and certainty. So this may include plans for purchase of materials. So you can plan in terms of purchase of materials, production, labor, overhead expenses, and others. Then we have now the contingency. Before we go to the contingency, let's look at the long-term stroke long range. So this involves identifying those activities to be performed over an extended period of up to 10 years and above, the long range. For a period of 5, not 5, for the intermediate is the one we said 1 to 5 years. They are very important to departmental level managers, that is intermediate. But now for long range, performed over an extended period of up to 10 years and above. So while short range planning deals with activities which are more specific, long range planning does not. The long range doesn't deal with things which are uncertain. So remember that we said for intermediate, the plans are not uncertain because it's something that will be implemented. So for the long range, that is not the case. So e.g. in 20 years from now, Do you see where you will be? Or where can we say the country will be? Are you sure of? Hmm? Are you sure where the country will be in the next 20 years? So 20, e.g. in a 20-year plan, knowledge of the environment and the financial position of the organizations are rather uncertain. We are not sure. So they are undertaken by the top managers. They are undertaken by the top managers. So contingency, this involves identifying alternative course of action in advance of implementation in order to meet possible changes in the environment. Involves identifying alternative causes of action. So alternative causes of action in advance of implementation in order to meet possible changes in the environment. So importance of planning. Why do we plan? Why do we carry out plans? Yes, Rose. Why do we plan? That is a question to you. Will you be able to answer that? What the reasons for planning? Sorry?
Accomplish the
To accomplish the
exercise that has been planned for quickly.
Yes, you can plan to make sure that what you wanted to achieve has been achieved. So it facilitates accomplishment of your goals, as you have said. So these are some of the importance of planning. Facilitate accomplishment of the enterprise purpose and objectives. Right now, to make sure that we have achieved in terms of making sure that you pass, I have to plan on how you have to finish the syllabus. So I facilitate accomplishment of enterprise purpose and objectives. Gives direction to the activities. It gives direction to the activities. Yes. If we don't have a timetable for our classes, remember that we cannot be able to achieve what we needed to achieve. So without plans, people could not know what is expected of them. The blueprint. So facilitates control. So it facilitates control. Once you have a good plan, obvious, what you needed to control will be controlled. So the plans act as a standard against which performance can be measured and evaluated. So deviations from plans help to point out weaknesses in the organizational processes. So planning logically precedes the execution of all other management functions. So if you plan in a good way, it precedes the execution of other management functions. So the others, because this is the first function of management, we have the others. So once you plan logically, it precedes the execution of all other management functions. So the others, like now organizing, directing, they will be executed in a good way. So without planning, other management functions could be impossible. So effective utilization of resources. So proper planning helps to proper and effective utilization of resources. So resources are identified for optimum utility through planning. So effective utilization of resources. Minimize costs, help in coordination. So elements of planning, stroke planning models. So elements of planning. So planning models. So why do we plan? The objectives. So they specify the targets to be achieved. So the first element of planning or the planning models, number one is the objectives. So it specifies. So why do we plan to achieve something? So it specifies the target to be achieved. So each 5% growth in profit in the next 1 year. In the next 1 year. So objective must be smart. So from the word smart, we always say that there must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So we have strategy stroke actions. Strategy stroke actions. That is another planning model. That is another planning model. So these are preferred means to achieve set objectives. So yes, we need to achieve this goal. But now, what have we done? So these are the preferred means to achieve the set objective. So the strategies, the actions, e.g. the preferred course of action to realize a company set objective of increasing profit by the 5% could be to expand the existing business or diversify business through increased investments. So how can we achieve the growth of the business in the next by 5% in the coming period? So which is the causes of action? Because that was the objectives, right? So for us to achieve the 5% growth, what are we, the 5% growth, what can we do? We could expand the existing business or diversify business through increased investments. We can pump more money. We can diversify business through increased investment. So it could also opt to increase its promotional campaigns or adverts. So today, if I want my classes to grow, if I want the financial reporting classes to grow, what do I carry out? Or if I always want them to grow, which plans do I put into place? Which strategies, stock actions? It's all about marketing, making sure that I give you more content through the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So I post. So I share to groups. The target audience will be able to see, and that is how I can achieve my growth. And also providing content which is rich. So the strategies of actions to make sure that the objective is achieved. So resources is another element. So you cannot achieve something without resources. That is why some of the government plans for now in the year 2023, 2024 might not be achieved as planned, because now we have this aspect of the finance bill still not implemented, because we have a case in court. So we don't have the resources. The government it doesn't have the resources to pump to other departments or other small county government. So these are constraints on the causes of action, implementation by organization. So they include raw materials, financial resources, human resources, time, technology, information resources. So these processes did what? These processes demands proper budgeting, that is identifying the cost and level of resources to be committed to planned process of strategies. So in short, resources is another element of planning besides objectives and strategies, stroke the causes of action. So others includes like implementation, schedules. So when we talk about implementation, so this involves assignment and the direction of personnel to carry out planned activities. So e.g. execute the organizational plans. So the implementation, execute the organizational plans. So the plan should be well communicated to employees. Plans can be implemented using policies. So another element of what? Another element of planning is implementation. Yes, you can have plans, but by lack of implementation, they cannot work. So how can you implement your plans? They can be implemented in terms of policies, programs, procedures, schedules. Rules. So schedules is another element of planning, not the way you can implement your plan. So schedules is another element of planning. So schedule is fixing a time sequence for every operation. It's known as schedules. Fixing a time sequence for every operation. Like now fixing time for every unit I offer. Financial reporting, it does its own time. Advanced financial reporting, leadership and management, financial accounting. So for me to make sure that I achieve my goals of making sure that the students have the right content at the right time, there's a timetable. So fixing time sequence for every operations is known as schedule. So once I do these schedules, my schedules is okay, everything will be achieved. So normally it forms part of programming as part of action plan. As part of action plan. So you have seen that we have 5 elements of planning. Number 1, roles being you can repeat. Number 1, elements of planning or the models of planning. Number 1, we said?
Yes.
I'm saying the elements.
Yes, come again.
Sorry? Are we together?
Resources.
We have resources. Number 1,
Yes.
I started with objectives. Number 2, I talked about. Yes. Number 2, I talked about the strategies.
Yes.
Number 3, I talked about the resources.
Resources. Yes.
Number 4, I have talked about implementation.
Implementation.
The number 5,
and schedules.
Schedule. So those are the elements or models of planning. And I think you will be able to explain them in a good way.
Yes.
Approaches to planning. So other than now models or elements, we have the approaches. Approaches to planning. So which approaches do we use in planning? So we have the strategic planning approach. Strategic planning approach. Management by objectives. MBO, very common approach. And it's highly tested. Management by objectives. You can find it in the case study, the 40 marks question, number 1. Management by objectives. So, strategic planning approach. So this one, it can be defined as the process of systematically identifying what the organization wants to achieve, how and when to achieve it. Systematically identifying what the organization, so you systematically identify. When you are using this strategic planning approach, this one is used whereby we identify what the organization wants. So when I offer my online classes, what do I need? And how and when to achieve it? So it's there for the process of selecting long-term goals. So the long-term goals, we say these are the ones, the long-term, exceeding which period? The one which are put into place, but exceeding a period
10
of
years.
So it's there for the process of selecting long-term goals to be achieved and determining policies and strategies required to achieve these goals. So you do what? You select long-term goals to be achieved. You come with policies and strategies to achieve them. So the strategic planning approach. So the responsibility of strategic planning lies with the top management. So they identify the corporate mission and objectives. So they identify what? The corporate mission and objectives, and establish strategic plans for achieving them. And establish strategic plans for achieving them. Management by objective, MBO. MBO is planning approach developed by and popularized by Peter F. Drucker in 1954. I think nobody existed by that time for the guys who are present here. 1954. This is the period when some of our parents were born. So it's a collaborative and participative approach. Collaborative and, very important, collaborative and participative approach to management planning. So MBO begins with goal setting. So first you do a goal set and it continues through performance review. You check on what you set, has it been achieved? So it starts with goal settings and continues through performance review. So the approach actively involves staff members at every organizational level. It's a collaborative and participative. That is why they are saying that it involves staff members at every organizational level. You can just about MBO. It starts with goal setting, then continue with performance review. It's collaborative and participative in nature. Why? Because it involves all staff members at every organizational level. At every organizational level. So principle behind MBO is to create empowered employee. You create empowered employee because you involve them who have clarity of the roles and responsibilities expected from them. So understand the objectives to be achieved, and that's held in achievement of the organizational as well as personal goals. So processes, stages of MPO. So top level goal setting. So we do top level goal setting, what we want to achieve. Top level goal setting. So begins with establishment of overall goals of the organization by top managers. So the top managers may do what? Set goals by consulting with other members of the organization. Remember the word collaborative and participative. So when the top managers will be setting goals, he will consult with other members of the organization. Then after top level goal setting, we go to collaborate goal setting throughout the organization. Make sure that now you collaborate. The goals, you did what you said throughout the organization. So managers consult with the divisional departmental members in setting of the objectives, in setting of the objectives. Then a periodic review of performance. So the objectives set are used by the management and the employees to review or monitor the actual implementation of the planned activities from time to time. So you do a review. So the objectives you did a set may be used by the management and employees to do what? To review and monitor the actual implementation of the planned activities. Then we have final evaluation and feedback. So final evaluation and feedback. So performance appraisal is finally conducted to determine the level of goals, stroke objectives are achieved. So you need to know those, you need to know these processes, stroke stages, from top level goal setting. Then you collaborate the goal setting throughout the organization. You do periodic reviews of performance, then final evaluation and feedback. So advantages, remember anything which has a merit must have a demerit, So which are some of the merits of MBO? What are some of the advantages? Clarifies to individuals what is expected of them. That is the objectives to be achieved. So it's very specific. It clarifies to individuals what is expected of them. What are the objectives we are supposed to achieve as an organization? Help managers to set achievable performance targets to their employees. Yes, so by getting the inputs of the employees. So in short, it makes the managers to set achievable performance targets, improves commitment, improves communication between managers and subordinates because it's collaborative, improves team spirit. You can work, it's collaborative again. So once even members of the organizations are, or the staff members of the organization are involved, remember that is a teamwork. Improves team spirit in the organization. Hence, high chances of goal setting. High chances of goal setting. Then it helps, it aids managers in reviewing employees' performance. It helps to implement controlling and planning functions simultaneously, e.g. through periodic review of the performance. So demerits, what are demerits? Difficult in setting goals and targets to be achieved. So sometimes it can be difficult to set the goals to be achieved and the targets. So that is inappropriate or attainable goals may be set due to lack of trainings in management objectives tools. Yes. So setting unrealistic, unattainable, inappropriate. It's expensive in terms of training to managers. It's expensive, costly, kills creativity. It kills creativity and innovativeness spirit in the organization. That is, individuals are motivated only to achieve the stated goals because it's management by objective. So you only achieve what you are working towards the objectives. You are working towards the goal you have. So there's nothing else you are thinking now. You are not thinking outside the box. So you know your goal, and that is where you focus on. So this one hinders what? Creativity. Hinders creativity. Adopting change in job description is difficult task. So a change in work procedures as a result of change in technology. The manager supported goal setting process require very high level of skills. Because now here it's collaborative, even all the staff members are informed. But now this connection between the top level guys and the subordinates in goal setting, the connection requires a very high level of skills in interpersonal relationship. So many managers have neither previous experience nor natural ability in these areas. Yes. So types of plans, the strategic plans. We have tactical. We have the tactical. We have the operational plans. So the three. So when we talk about strategic plans, so the broad plans developed by top managers. So the bigger picture of the entity. So when we look at the bigger picture of the entity, then we set goals. So the broad plans developed by top managers to guide general directions of the firm. So they follow from the major goals of the firm and indicate what business the firm is in, or what the business is intends to be in. So strategic plans therefore indicate how or where the firm will position itself within its environment. That's why I've said we look at the bigger picture of the entity, then we come up with the plans at the top. So we look at the bigger picture of the what? The entity. So tactical, they are concerned with how to implement the strategic plans, concerned how we implement the plans which were developed by top managers to guide the general directions of the firm. Tactical ones, they assist in the implementation of the strategic plans. So they deal with specific resources and the time constraints. So tactical planning is mainly associated with middle management. So we have operation. Under operation, we have the standing plans and the single use. So these are plans developed to handle recurring and relatively routine situations. So the recurring, the one which occur from time to time. So the standing plans. So the plans which handle these things which will be occurring from time to time. So include rules and regulations, which are statements of how specific activities are to be performed. Single-use plans set up to handle events that happen only once. So the two types are programs and projects. Single-use, single-use. Barriers to effective planning. What can hinder us towards effective planning? Inadequate training, poor training backgrounds of strategic planners or top managers. Poor forecasting of the environment, leading to inaccurate information required for planning purpose. Poor forecasting, poor forward-looking. So lack of SWOT analysis, lack of SWOT. So remember that you have to analyze about the strengths and weaknesses. Those are internal, the strengths and weaknesses, our strengths and weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. So the SWOT, opportunities and threats. So the opportunities and threats, remember these are external factors. So when you are analyzing your environment, you analyze in terms of SWOT analysis, the strengths and weaknesses which are the internal, and opportunities and threats. So lack of SWOT analysis can hinder towards effective planning. So that is a barrier So failure by management to understand its strengths and weaknesses against opportunities and threats in the external environment and poor strategy development. Insufficient budgets to finance proposed activity, lack of resources, lack of inadequate financial resources, and other resources to be committed to planned goals and objectives. Lack of top management support to goals, planned activities. Poor organizational culture. So the culture which does not do what? Encourage hard working and desire for goal achievement. Lack of employee involvement. If you are not implementing the collaborative factor, lack of employee motivation to implement plans. You need to motivate employees. Rapid changes in external environment forces. If there is a change in the external environment, so for example, technology, economic, or competitive forces. Lack of training and development programs. Poor communication of plans and strategies to employees. So that is it. That is it. That is it. We are moving to the number 2 of functions of management. So organizing, we'll be looking at organizing function. So the organizing function. So under organizing, what are we supposed to cover? Under the organizing, we have 40 slides. So that is the one which is a bit wide. But out of the 40 slides, there's others we did earlier. The delegation, we did delegation. Delegation. When I was doing the leading function, I did delegation. I think delegation is part of organizing. It's inside the organizing function. So once we go to delegation, I will skip that. So we have around 40 slides to cover. So the organizing function, what does it mean? And the importance of organizing. Factors affecting organizing. Process, principles. Then we look at organizational structures. Very important. The organizational structures, very important. So the definition, so organizing, what does organizing mean? So the way in which jobs are arranged and allocated among members of the organization so that required activities are done and that activities fit together so that people can work smoothly, effectively, and efficiently in groups. So the way jobs are arranged and allocated among members of the organization. If you are an accountant, you are given an accounting job. If you are a doctor, you are given, if say it's in an hospital, see, doctors do their jobs, accountants do their job, and many more people in that organization. Irene, how are you? Neighbor Irene, how are you?
I am good.
So processes of organizing. So we have said that the organizing is all about making sure that jobs are arranged in a better way. So the process, you detail the tasks involved. So if it's accounting, let's say in an hospital setting, you know the tasks. So you detail. Then you divide the task into units or departments, assign each groups. So departments are managed and employed with relevant qualification. Put in people mechanisms for coordination, horizontal and vertically. Then you monitor activity performance of the structures, evaluation of effectiveness. So detail the task, divide the tasks into units, assign each group, department, and manage and employees with relevant qualification. So these things flow, you can see the flow. After you have detailed, you do what? You divide the task, you assign, you put in people mechanisms for coordination horizontal and vertically. Then monitor activities, stroke process, stroke performance of the structures. So organizational structures, organizational structures is concerned with the way in which work is divided up and allocated. So you remember that we have that structure, organizational structure. We can have the top guy, then the top guy is followed by maybe department heads, the department heads, maybe there's others down here. So the organizational structure, how we have said, so resume to slides. So organizational structures is concerned with ways in which work is divided up and allocated. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of individuals and groups within the organization. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of the individuals and groups within the organization. So approaches, stroke ways, stroke methodologies of the organizational structure. Approaches, ways, methodologies. So this is the basis of organizational structure. That is how to divide or allocate, organize. That is how to divide or allocate the labor. If it's HR, accounting, finance. So we look at work specialization. So which approaches we use? According to the number of tasks performed. So work specialization. So an organization may have high degree specialization. We have the low degree specialization. Yes. So high degree, this is where individuals focus on one or a few tasks. One or a few tasks. E.g., in production of automobiles, workers specialize in specific tasks. Low degree is where the individuals perform many different tasks in the organization. E.g., a manager who hires and fires, keeps financial records, contacts. So remember that they have used, like, high degree in the production of automobiles. So there's a time I did internship at the General Motors, GM. You know GM, the one which produces vehicles. So if it's a person who deals with body, you have specialized on the body only of the car. That is according to the engineers. So those engineers specializes on specific areas. They don't have a lot of jobs. So in assembling the car, it moves around people with specific specialization. So high degree. So with high degree of specialization, you have few tasks. But low degree, you have many. So from there, we can be able to develop what? An organizational structure. We can look at the departmentalization. So this refers to the grouping of jobs according to the function or units created in the organization. So we can group jobs according to the functional units created in the organization. So e.g., human resource, production, marketing, finance. So you can look at departments. For you to develop an organizational structure, we can look at departmentalization. Pattern of authority can be looked at. An organization may have centralized or decentralized system of authority. So when we talk about centralized, under this system, the top managers retain decision-making, right? Is the person who is in control, fully control of the organization. But the decentralization, this is where the decision-making rights have been granted to middle or low level positions. Then we can look at the span of control. We have the narrow and wide. What does span of control means? So span of control is the number of subordinates reporting to a single manager, stroke superior, the number of subordinates doing that. So narrow, few report. So few subordinates report. Wide, many subordinates. So like now, you can see the structure here, the way they developed this structure. So wide, we have said many subordinates report to the top guy. Here we have a cashier reporting direct to store manager, accountant, purchaser, custodian. But now for the narrow, just few who report to the top guy. So organizations with a narrow span of control have many levels of management. So few subordinates report to a single manager. This results in a tall structured system stroke organization. So right now, the cashier is an accountant. So instead the cashier reporting direct to the store manager, you can report to the accountant, then the accountant reports to the store manager. So for the others right now here, we have the store person doing what? Reporting to the custodian, then custodian reports to the purchaser. So this is a tall structured system, which is due to a narrow span of control, whereby few subordinates report to the top guy. So ideal span of control is the one that leads to an efficient utilization of managers and effective performance of subordinates. Which can be good, narrow or wide. Which is ideal? Effective utilization of resources. Which is ideal? Between the narrow and the wide, good for thought. So factors determining the choice of span of control. Stroke levels of management, you know. So factors determining the choice of span of control. So how can we be able to know that here, instead of having many individuals reporting to the top guy, many subordinates reporting to the top, we can have few reporting. So which factor do we consider in determining the choice of span of control? The similarity of functions to be supervised. Less similar functions, less similar functions. Narrow. Because now if right now the tasks are not similar, so we go for the narrow, whereby so similar functions wide, similar functions wide. Geographical, we can look at the geographical dispersion of functions. Geographically dispersed functions, whereby the functions are geographically dispersed. We go for the narrow. Centralized, we go for the wide. So you can see the factors we consider in choosing the span of control. We have talked about similarity of functions, geographical dispersion of functions, complexity of functions. So for the complex, we go for the narrow. Less complex, wide. Direction and control needed by subordinates. The higher the degree of supervision required by subordinates, we go for the narrow. We can look at coordination needed by managers, the coordination needed by managers stroke supervisors. So the higher degree of coordination needed to integrate the departmental functions within the subunit, narrow span of control. Less coordination, we go for the wide. We go for the wide. Then we can look at organizational assistance received by supervisors. So the higher the assistant or support personnel provided to a manager, wide. Less organizational assistance received by manager, narrow. Training and qualification of subordinates. Well-trained and qualified subordinates, wide. Everybody can be reporting if they are well-trained. But if less, narrow. Like now the cashier can report to the accountant, then accountant reports to the store manager. That was a good example we had earlier in our tall structured organization. So the management style adopted. So managers who prefer loose style, stroke democratic style of leadership. So the managers who prefer loose, democratic. So everybody is involved. You are a democrat. So wide span of control. Give an opportunity everybody to report to the top. But managers who prefer tight, authoritarian type of leadership, narrow span of control. The degree of the degree to which work is routine or stable. So managers in charge of a stable or routine working environment, we can consider wide span of control. Less routine and unstable work environment, we consider narrow. Procedures and work methods used, procedures. So well-established and formalized procedures. Once we have good procedures, everybody can be reporting to the top. But now informal and clear structures, we go for the narrow. You have understood the narrow and wide, and the factors we consider, and the factors consider. See, we did this. You remember? Delegation, when I was talking about leading as a function of management. Were you here, guys, last time? When I was talking about delegation? Irene, you were in class. Or Rose? Rose, you have been here. I think you remember we did delegation. So
Yes.
you can go to that recording of leading as a function of management. You watch for the delegation. So I've skipped the delegation. So we go to centralization and decentralization of authority. Centralization and decentralization. So remember, we talked delegation when we are talking about power, responsibility, and authority. So we go to centralization and decentralization. So centralization of authority, when something is centralized, center, from the word center, decenter. So for centralization, this refers to retention of decision rights by the top manager. So top manager is in control of everything. He's retaining that power. He's retaining everything. Power of decision making. So we were talking about that is centralization and decentralization. So when we talk about central, here we have a retention of decision making. By who? Top management. So factors influencing centralization. So where can the decision making be retained at the top? The costliness of the decision to be made. So if there of a if the cost the costliness of the decision to be made, if let's say, which word can I use? In terms of the decision making, if they are delicate, so if the decision is made is delicate, obvious, it can be retained at the top. Like now there's a decisions which can be made by who? The top guy in the country for the betterment of the country. The president. Like now we have this anarchy of maandamano from the opposition. So the president is supposed to move with speed and make decisions on how to handle that. So that is something of delicate costliness of the decision. So the more costly the actions to be decided on or to be undertaken, the more probable it is that decisions will be made at the upper level of management. The costly the action to be decided. So cost may be assessed directly in monetary terms or in such intangible as the company's reputation, its competitiveness, and employee morale. So the cost can be in terms of monetary or in such intangible as this decision, will it lead to bad reputation of the entity? So e.g. an error in decisions to purchase an aeroplane. So that is very major. So if you, like now, KQ, if they want to add some aeroplanes, which will be made at the top level because this is something very costly. While decision to purchase furniture, this one is not something of a delicacy. So it may be made by second or third level management for the furniture. So you can relate from that example. Then the training and levels of qualifications. So the training. Before we go to the training, remember we have just talked about the first one in terms of costliness of the decisions. So number two, top management philosophy. The top management philosophy. So the character and the philosophy of top executives have an important influence on extent to which authorities decentralize. So the top management philosophy. So the top manager may retain authority for their status and power. They want obviously to retain power. So sensitivity of the decisions to be made, sensitivity. This one can relate to point 1, the costliness. So the more sensitive the decision to be made, the more likely that it will be centralized. A desire for uniformity in decisions or policy made. So uniformity ensures consistency in policies applied in the undertaking organizational activity. So uniformity of the policy ensures that customers will be treated equally with respect of quality, price, credit, delivery, and service. So this calls for centralization of authority for decision making. Because once a decision is made from one point, that is the top, there will be uniformity. There will be uniformity, unlike decentralization. So others include training and levels of qualification of managers at the mid and lower level. So training and levels of qualification. So a real shortage of qualified managers could limit decentralization. So you cannot give that opportunity to people who are unqualified to make decisions at the mid and lower level. So if they are well trained, well and good, embrace decentralization. But now, shortage of that, that is what will lead to centralization. So size of the organization, if the organization is bigger, we do what? So in a small or to medium size organization, there's tendency of centralized decision making. In terms of small and medium, history and culture of the enterprise, the history and culture. So now that also culture is very important. Also culture that, and the history of the organization is that obvious decisions are made from the top. That is an history and culture that obvious decisions of this entity will be made by the top managers. So where authority will be centralized frequently depends in the way the business has been built. So certain enterprises expand under the direction of their owners, stroke founders. I can be having my own company. I'm the CEO, and maybe and other immediate people are the top guys. So the history and culture of these entities that I'm the person to make that decision so beside the board. So Ford Motors Corporation has the tendency to centralize authority. The Ford Motors Corporation. That is an example. Yeah, magari. Mani gari. Tuna wingi wa gari. Then confidentiality stroke secrecy required of certain decisions. So yes, if you don't want some secrets to go to your competitors, let's say we want to do what? To achieve our goals without the competitors knowing what we do is better decisions to be made at the top. Complexity of the organization, time constraints, stroke speed by which certain decisions must be implemented. So remember that if we decentralize, it takes time in terms of decision making. But now centralization it will not take any time. Decentralization, decentralization. Now here we have dispersion of decision-making rights to middle or level. So here now even subordinates are given an opportunity. It's cooperative in nature. So the subordinates are given the opportunity. The middle and lower level people are given opportunity to make decisions. Decentralization. Factors influencing decentralization of authority. Size of the organization, large or scale organizations. Need to retrieve top management or of some burden of decision making. These people are overburdened with work. So why can do it decentralized so that we move on? Need to encourage decision making and assumption of authority and responsibility. We encourage decision making. Need to give managers more freedom and independence. Need to promote establishment and use of broader controls. The need to facilitate product diversification, need to facilitate the setting up of profit centers, need to promote development of managers. Yes, once remember that right now the middle people are given opportunity to make decisions, you are promoting their development. Need to motivate managers by making them to be in charge of certain decisions. So we have types of organizational structure. So we have already looked at on how we can be able to develop organizational structures in an organization now. Now we go direct to the various structures which can be available based on the way we have been looking at on how these structures can be developed. Now we go ahead to look at which structures do we have in place based on what we have been talking about in terms of building these structures. So we have functional design. So functional design, how does it look like? Involves grouping together people who do similar tasks. If it's accountant, you group them together. The primary function in manufacturing company might be the primary function in manufacturing, production, sales, finance, and general administration. So that is the structure. You group together people who do similar tasks. You group people together. Example, HR, reporting the CEO, marketing department, production, accounting, research, and development. So you group together people who does similar tasks. So merit or functional design, that is, or function merits. So the advantages of the functional design. So it leads to efficient utilization of resources because if it's the marketing people, they are under one umbrella. By grouping common tasks together, economies of scale are possible. So in-depth skill development. So more intensive trainings of members is possible within departments due to similarity of knowledge. So if I am doing accounting, you are doing accounting in the same department, there's something I know you don't know, I will be able to train you on the same. So skill development. Clear career path. So employees have clear understanding of their jobs. You are not giving an accountant marketing job. You are not giving a human resource person accounting, no. So you are doing what? There's clear understanding of job requirements. So strategic decisions are made at the top. The long-term decisions are made at the top. So a centralized decision structure facilitates unit of direction. Top management provides coordination and control to the organization, enhance coordination within functional units. Enhance coordination. Common backgrounds of members within a department facilitates communication and coordination. So demerits, slow decision making, centralized decision making delays. So the centralized decision making delays decision making process, slow decision making, less innovative. Members become less innovative because they focus mainly on departmental goals rather than over organizational goals. If it's accounting, our work is accounting. If it's finance, finance. So we don't look at the, if it's account as an accountant, you don't look at the organization generally as one. You are under your functional department. So less innovative, poor coordination across functions. So HR might not be coordinating with the accounting, or marketing might not be coordinating with accounting function. So member of each department may feel isolated and even hostile to those in other departments. While limited management training. While functional departments excel at training members to solve problems related to specific skills, they do poorly at developing broader skills. Limited. Kama ni accountants, remember that we deal with them and we train them about the accounting job only. We cannot help them to be marketing people to the company. So we are limiting. The employees will be limited. Your people will be limited. So we have the second one, divisional now. How does divisional looks like? How does divisional looks like? Should be implemented when the organization growth is accompanied by expansion in product lines, more customers, or geographical expansion. Like now the aspect of Safaricom. Safaricom, there's an expansion of products of Safaricom. Like now it entered. Which market? The other day, Safaricom entered which market? Which country? That is what I mean. Ethiopia. So you know that. The Ethiopian market. So there's a, in terms of, I'm using that example of Safaricom, there's an expansion in terms of geographical. So this one, this division are now, it should be implemented when there's things of such kind. Expansion of product lines, more customers, geographical expansion. So production, customers, or geographical division may be created to improve coordination of organizational activity. So product division, in product division, each unit is responsible for a single product or a group of related products. So we might have under division, we have said when there is an expansion of products. So we are talking about product division. So under this product division, responsible for a single product or a group of related products. Division by product is usually created where products or a group of products in a production process require marketing methods that are different from other products in the organization. We have customer division. When the organization sells products to a diverse group of customers. So customers division may be appropriate beside. Geographical, large organizations that distribute the output nationally or internationally. Again, I've used the Safaricom as an example. Often develop divisions based on geography, e.g. multinational corporations, multinational corporations. So you can see right now we have division. This is an example of division design, division A, B, and C. So under division A, you have those research and development, HR, marketing, and production. Division B, division C. So example of division are designed based on products. Like now if we are dealing with cosmetics, we have people, we have areas for that, household goods, garden supplies. Anyway, the main thing is that this one comes with expansion of product line, customers, or geographical, or in terms of geography. So we have an example of divisional structure based on customers. If you are dealing with home computer, business computer research. Example of a divisional design based on geography, North America, Africa, Far Eastern. So merits, that is advantages of divisional design, easy adaptation to unstable environment, you can be able to adapt easily. Since each division is relatively small, it can adapt more easily to changes in product development. So customers or geographical region, high customer satisfaction. Customers receive more attention under divisional design because there's a greater detailing of the product customer needs. Because we have, if we are dealing with customer division, high customer satisfaction, clear performance responsibility. Each division can be made a profit center, thus permitting assignment of a specific objectives to be achieved. Each division can be a profit center. So if it's in Africa, we look at how is our division in Africa performing. North America, Far East. So clear performance responsibility. General management training. So divisional managers learn how to control and coordinate activities among several departments within the division. Hence, top managers can be trained through job rotation to head various divisions. So this exposes them to broader managerial experience required at the top level management. Facilitate decision-making. So demerit inefficient use of resources. So this is because there is a duplication of resources. Because if it's division A, it might be having HR research. The same division B might be having the same. Division C will be having, so there is duplication of resources across divisions. Function, focus on division objectives. So members of the division may focus on division objectives. If it's division A, the members of division A focuses on the division A. So members of division may focus on division objectives, rather broader goals of the organization. Like now it's GM, Isuzu, the people who are in Africa, they focus on the division of Africa. They are not focused about the one in America and others, because if it's Isuzu, it's one. So loss of control by top management. Yes, like now there's a head office for these multinational firms based, let's say, if it's like Isuzu, I think it's those countries, I think US or France there. So the head office might lose control of the division in Kenya. So loss of control by the top management. So the top management may lose control of divisions. So the divisions may become radically different in their operations, such that impose a rule or regulations by headquarters may be difficult. So the top might lose control. Then we have hybrid. So we have what we call hybrid. So the hybrid structure, this type of structure design has both divisional and functional. It has both divisional and functional. So the functional departments are centralized and located at the corporate headquarters. The functional departments are centralized and located at the corporate headquarters. So hybrid has both divisional and functional units. So the divisional units and functional departments. So e.g., a company may have the human resource department located at the headquarters. The department will service or other divisions or branches by carrying out recruitment, training, and maintenance of the employees' files. So in doing so, the organization is able to eliminate the needs of entire human resource staff. So we avoid duplication of work. So each banks are examples of organizations that frequently use hybrid banks. They have an headquarters whereby we employ from that point. Like now, we have the CEO, we have the marketing, production, and accounting and HR. So all of these, we have branches for that. Branches for that. Examples of an hybrid. Hybrid. It has both division and functional departments. Divisional units and functional departments. Advantages. Simultaneous coordination across and within divisions can be achieved. Simultaneous, there's a good coordination, integration of goals, adaptability and efficiency of branches. For disadvantage, we might have slow response. There might be conflict. How conflict arises between headquarters and divisions. Administrative overheads of functional departments at the headquarters have the tendency to grow as staff is added to assist in the control. Administrative overheads. Administrative overheads. Then we have another structure called matrix. So for the matrix, maybe the solution for managers to believe that other designs are inadequate. So this one shows that the other structures are inadequate. So matrix is a unique structure designed because it implements functional and a divisional structure simultaneously in each department. Simultaneous. It implements what and what? The functional and divisional. So they result in a system characterized by employees in each department being supervised by two bosses. That is a system of dual authority. One boss is the functional at the corporate headquarters, while the other boss is project manager. So the functional and the divisional may have equal authority within the organization. So this one, it shows that the other structures are inadequate. So it implements functional and divisional structures simultaneously at the same time. The matrix. So you can see this example here. Advantages of matrix. Examples of matrix. So examples of matrix. So the examples of matrix we have like it's end result oriented. So end result oriented. So for the chances of good achievements are high. Around demands for the environment to be made simultaneous. Encourage resource efficiency. Encourage resource development. Aid top management in planning. It helps manage top management in planning. Demerits, we have conflict in organizational authority. So it exists between function and project managers. It exists between function and project managers. The conflict creates confusion, time-consuming, high administrative costs. That marks the end of our 40 slides for organizing. So our organizing was that we look at meaning and importance of organizing. We have looked at that. We look at factors affecting organizing function, processes of organizing, principles, and organizational structures. And organizational structures are the major thing here. So I think we have covered organizing. So our next area of concern is the third function, which is staffing. Before we move to another function, let's do a recap of the organizing function. Before we go to staffing, let's do a recap. So recap, organizational structure. So we need to do a recap to make sure that you are well versed with these organizational structures. So organizational structures, so because I know they have challenged most of you. We have been looking at many matrix, functional, divisional, functional. So this is the sum total of all of the ways in which organization divides its labor into distinct tasks and then achieves coordination between them. See, where you work, do you move from one area to another? Like now, Rose, with your office of the, anyway, Auditor General. See, there's auditing department. Is there an accounting department? HR? So there's these aspects of those. The same with Irene, where you work. Where so there's accounting. There's this aspect of HR. So some sort of ways in which an organization divides its labor into distinct tasks, then achieve coordination between them. This is what we have been talking about. So it's the established patterns of relationship among various parts of the organization. Established pattern of relationship. This is just a recap boundary, around 10 slides. So you can see this picture, how the coordination can be. The guy in red, and this is blue, the three in the middle. They coordinate with subordinates there. You can see that picture, how the coordination works. So an organization is formal structural fields. Who is responsible for what? an organizational form of structure. A good structure will reveal who is responsible for this, who communicates with who, both in procedural practice and to great extent in less formal ways. The skills the organization values, by extension, the roles of knowledge and skill within it. So we have the types of organizational structure, the simple, entrepreneurial. It's appropriate for small, owner-managed organizations, which tends to pursue a strategy of selling a limited range of products or services. So there's this structure beside the others we have been going through. So commonly found in sole trade organizations, where all organizational divisions are taken centrally by a single individual. If you have a small shop where you have few people, prevent entrepreneurial structure. Divisional, we talked about it, found in large organizations, which pursue a diverse range of strategies. We have division S here. We talked about division in terms of products, customers, and geographical expansion. So divisional structures see the organization divided into semi-autonomous units based on geography, products, or markets. That is what we said. You remember now? You remember divisional? Hybrid, we said it includes both division and functional. So it includes division and functional. So for the functional departments are centralized and located at corporate headquarters, functional. They are at the headquarters. Like now we said human resource can be located at the headquarters to service other divisions, branches, by carrying out the recruitment trainings and maintenance of employees' files. So this type of design works best where each division or branch of the organization has departments similar to those of the other branches. E.g. in banks, recruitment is done at the headquarters. Even if we would be having like now KCB, we have many branches for that. Nairobi branch. In Nairobi, we have many branches. We can have Kisii branch, Nyamira, but the recruitment is done from Upper Hill, where we have the headquarters. Cooperative working. So traditionally, each organization attempted to obtain for itself as much as possible of the value created overall in the value network. However, many new ones have been created that focus more on cooperation than rivalry. So these new structures are known as boundaryless organizations. Boundaryless organizations. So boundaryless structure. So here, remember that we have said collaborative. Traditionally, what we have said is that traditionally, each organization attempted to obtain for itself as much as possible of the value created over in the value network for itself. However, many new ones have been created that focus more on cooperation than we are not in the market to fight. So, other than library, we can bring cooperation. So these new structures are known as boundaryless organization. Boundaryless organization. So the boundaryless structure seeks to remove vertical, horizontal, external barriers to that employees, manager, customers, and the suppliers can work together, share ideas, identify best course for the study, seeks to remove vertical, horizontal, and external barriers. So the boundaryless organization. So here, this structure, it removes these barriers, the vertical, horizontal, and external, so that the employees, manager, customers, suppliers can work together to share ideas and identify the best cause for the organization. This one is well coined on the website of study.com. So boundaryless structures. So the boundaryless structure. So boundaryless organizations are characterized by fluid and adaptive organizational structure that allow for cooperation with external, because even now suppliers are involved. So the structure transcends the rigid lines of bureaucracy and the divisional boundaries within a corporation. So now there's no barriers. Remember that the barriers have been rifted. Employees no longer work in isolation, but work as part of a team on broad. So company-wide projects, quality management, just-in-time methods, lean production, and supply chain management. So under these, the boundaries, we have the hollow structure. Under the boundaries, whereby the barriers are not existing. So in this one, the majority of the companies, non-core processes are outsourced. The non-core processes are outsourced to specialist providers, leaving the company free to concentrate on its value-adding activity. Like now, research and development, marketing and manufacturing. So the non-core processes, you outsource them so that the entity is free to concentrate on its value addition. The outsourcing of certain function effectively makes the organization a hollowed out entity. The outsourcing of certain functions, allowing it to reduce its workforce and cut costs. So the remaining staffs are then free to manage the relationship created with the third-party outsourcer. Modular. How does it relate to growth or to our topic? So it involves outsourcing certain production processes. So yeah, we outsource certain production processes to specialist outsourcers. So the core company will then assemble the outsourced components in-house to produce a final product. So this type of structure is commonly used in high-tech industries. They do what? They outsource certain production process to specialists, outsourcers. Then the core company will then assemble the outsourced components in-house. And this is important in high-tech industries such as aircraft. For example, an outsourced partner will provide engines which the aircraft manufacturer can then bolt into the finished plane. The modular networks are groups of organizations or individuals who cooperate to deliver service to customers. Networks, group of organizations or individuals who cooperate to deliver service to customers. For example, a building contractor might deliver a building project by managing a range of specialist contracts rather than carrying out work themselves in order to achieve innovative response to changing circumstances. Then virtual structures, virtual organizations appear as a single entity from outside to its customer. But in fact, a network of different organization nodes. So that is all anyway. And that's all for those structures. I think I might work with. It's like an addition to what we have covered in terms of organizational structures. You have the nodes. You have all the materials. You have the nodes which you need to go through. You can be going through the nodes. Make sure that you make notes to be your friend. That is the only way you can answer questions for leadership and management. First, you see the way we are going through the notes. That is what you need to do 3 times. First, second, third. First, you just read through. Second, read when trying to get the content. Now, third, make sure that you have the content itself. So once you have the content of the notes, general notes, the content, you know that. Like now in organizing, what is in organizing? What does organizing pertains? Under planning, what can they test you? Do you know what's MPO? In organizing, do you know the organizational structures? How does they looks like? If we go to leading as a function of management, what does it pertain? You see? So next I will be talking about staffing. Our next topic will be staffing. And that is on our next session. So you can have a nice Sunday for today. We meet next time. God willing, if we can meet over the week, but I know for you guys it will be difficult to meet over the weekend. Meaning that until next weekend, Saturday and Sunday for this unit, but for the others we'll be interacting so that we do the necessary. Have a nice time and thank you for your attendance and cooperation.